Hi everyone, this is Andrew with Integrity Pro Roofing and Denver Roof Coatings. Today we're going to talk through the steps of actually applying a Geico, which is the brand we're using, silicone roof. And we're actually going to apply to an rolled asphalt roof with granules on it. So we're going to talk through installation just for that type of roof. Some of this is going to work on other types of roofs, but just want to make sure we're clear on that. So number one step when you do this is you got to clean the whole roof surface. So if you're in an area where there's trees or things like that, a lot of that can just be done with a leaf blower first or broom the roof off. Then we actually pressure wash it. So actually get a pressure washer up here and spray everything down. We scrub it with brooms, brushes. We use like cleaning agents in there, spray all that. The cleaning is really the most important step to the whole process that we're doing, because that's what's going to make our adhesion and our bond to the roof well. So clean everything, pressure wash everything, get all that cleaned up. You got to make sure you clean the side of the building when you're done. Sometimes some of that splatters on the side and dries, and it's difficult to come off when it dries, so clean it then. So that's step number one. Step two, because we're on an asphalt roof today, we use a primer if we're doing silicone roofs. So once you clean everything off, you let it dry, put the primer on, let that dry. So that's step number two. Step number three is also a pretty critical step that we do, and this is basically, it's called Geico Patch, but it's like a flashing grade type product. So it's just a really thick product that we basically paint on or trowel on in areas that are bad. So this is areas where we have seams, where product overlaps, where membrane overlaps, where pipes come through the roof, vent stacks come through the roof. If you have curbs or things like that where you have stuff mounted on it, like skylights or HVAC units, things like that, we do that whole area with Geico Patch. So that's pretty critical. Some areas in there too will do what's called like a 3-course method or a 3-step method, and that's just basically where you put product down, and while it's wet, you lay in a mesh, just like a fiber mesh that goes over it, and then you do product again, Geico Patch over top of that, and that just kind of helps bond in high expansion and contraction areas, or areas where we think membrane is showing signs of weakening or ripping or something like that. So those are the areas, and then once all that's done, really the last step, which is the step that we all see, which is actually the easiest step, and that's just where we go through and actually apply the product over the whole roof. And you really need to watch the mills, so you got to use like a wet gauge and check the mills and the thickness of how the product is that you're putting it on. But then, yeah, other than that, that's it. You can roll it on, which is what most people do, especially for small projects. You can also spray it on for large projects and metal roofs. A lot of people spray that on. So that's it. We'll actually go through and point these out here next. All right, so here I want to show you the actual primer. This is the step 2 of the process. So here you can see there's a little light area right here. This is where we actually missed a little section. But this is the original roof color, and then we just roll a primer over top. And this isn't necessarily it's going to seal the water out per se. It technically does, but it's really just to create the accurate material to bond to when we put the silicone on top. So here's the primer right here. We've got Geico Patch, and we'll just show you some other patch sections here in a second. Okay, next we're going to show you some sections here of where the Geico Patch and the flashing grade is going to go to kind of seal the area. So right here we have like an old curb, or it used to be an old skylight or something, but they've roofed over it, covered it all up. So corners on these things, there's usually seams there, so you always want to cover it on the corners. And then here we've got an overlay where they've stopped and started sections of the actual roofing itself. We've got a seam right here, and a seam going this way. So these are all areas that you want to fully seal with Geico Patch. Alright, so this is the last step here. This is actually applying the white surface to it. And as you can see, we're going over top of our primer, our Geico Patch, and then our actual white coating. So that's it. Once that dries, you'll be good to go. One cool thing to just note about it is it's actually water curable. So if you're worried about rain or things like that, you can actually apply it as long as it's to a dry surface. Then water hits it, water will actually make it dry faster. So it's kind of a cool product if you got a storm coming and you got to make an emergency repair. The Geico Patch can also work really good for that for you as well. So all in all, it's a good product.
Hey, this is Ray with Integrity Pro Roofing and Denver Roof Coatings, and I am here in Denver on a residential roof. We're putting on a roof coating. You can see Matt in the background. He's actually adhering our last step of the roof coatings. You can see the black on the roof behind me. This is an asphalt roof. The black is what we call a Geico patch running along the seams, any repairs that were done on the roof. I just want to give a quick shout out to anybody thinking about a roof coating. It's great because you can save about 50 to 60% the cost of a full re-roof, and you can still have about a 10 to 15 or 20-year warranty. So this is an amazing product if you have any type of flat roof, any type of metal building, any type of commercial property. These are fantastic for. So give us a shout if you have any questions. We would love to talk to you.